Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. I want to thank a subscriber over on the website, Grateful Servant, for sharing this in the forum over on the website in regards to lizard people. Now, it's very important that people, if they can, join the website so that we can all stay connected to each other. Obviously, most of you have struggled to find my content over the years, and I can only point you so many times in the direction that I'm going because I get thrown all over the place on YouTube, pretty much unlike anything we've ever seen before. There's content creators that get censored, and then I'm on a different level at this point. It's almost like every month or so a new channel needs to be used. And the website is a way you'll always be able to connect with me and also use the forum to share stuff like this with me so that I can cover these topics, or just so that we all could be aware of these things. Because we know that more and more on social media sites, things are becoming censored. You're not allowed to share articles about certain subjects. You're certainly not allowed to say certain things. And the website for now is a safe place until, of course, they decide to go after independent websites, which they will do next. But first, they have to start with social media. So definitely check out the website if you haven't yet. Most of you know what it is. I'll have it linked below. And also, for anybody out there that's wondering, I do have a new Patreon for this channel. It's called Wake Up Call 2024 at Patreon. I have it linked below as well. I'm putting that there because of anybody out there who wants me to remain on YouTube or just wants to support the channel and the work that I put out there, because obviously they're making it more and more difficult for content creators like myself to work on these platforms. They're making it harder to be monetized. They're making it harder to even make any type of revenue off of it. And of course, that's only the time that I put into the channel. That's the purpose of having a Patreon, is that if you're going to make 3 videos a day like I do, it's going to take an entire day of time to do it. Now, obviously, you don't have to become a patron unless you feel led to become one. I'm still going to put content out there, but the more patrons I have, the more content I could put out. So it's just there if anybody out there is interested in supporting my channel. I work as hard as I possibly can to get as much content out there, but it's becoming more and more difficult to have the time to put content out on this platform. But it is linked below along temporarily with the website link, which I'll have to remove after a period of time. So Harvard is now saying that lizard people might actually be real. And I'm sure most of you have heard about lizard people, the notion of lizard people, and dismissed it automatically. And that's because that's what they want you to do. They want you to think that it's a crazy conspiracy. That's why they label things like that by saying lizard people. It's the same thing they did with that pizza parlor place, where instead of talking about the main issues that we all were talking about, like the Instagram posts that were very suggestive and very disturbing, instead they just said that, oh yeah, they're trafficking children out of a pizza parlor, to make people just go, oh yeah, that's a crazy idea. That's a crazy notion. They do the same thing with things like labeling topics lizard people. But if you haven't heard, Harvard scientists are saying there may be an unknown technologically advanced civilization hiding on Earth. That's right, a technologically advanced civilization hiding on Earth. Now, most people will automatically think that it's some type of alien race. And of course, that's where they want your mind to go. But we know for things to progress the way that they have them planned to progress, they're going to have to start revealing these things, such as quote unquote lizard people. Now, the majority of people out there don't even know what lizard people is referencing. It's referencing the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the Nephilim, which is a offspring of the fallen angels and humans, right? In the book of Genesis, something you never hear mentioned in any church, the Nephilim, right? Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. This is in the book of Genesis, okay? In the book of Genesis, right in the beginning of the Bible. But you probably never hear this ever mentioned in a church, because most people can't wrap their heads around it, and that's what they want. The Nephilim are also mentioned again in the book of Numbers, Numbers chapter 13, verses 32 through 33. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who came of the Nephilim, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. And many people believe that the Nephilim, there's multiple interpretations, and I'm just going to tell you some of the interpretations, and you can make your own decisions. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't think. You should make your own interpretation of things. You should have your own interpretation of things. You should be able to think freely on your own. But many believe, that the fallen angels who begot the Nephilim were cast into total darkness. That's what the theory is. And the interpretation that many have is that God granted 10% of the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim to remain after the flood as demons to try to lead the human race astray until the final judgment. Now, many obviously believe that this breed of humans that they call lizard people or reptilians are in fact the people in positions of power. That's the theory if you weren't aware of the theory. And it's a theory that has a lot of legs to it. So I'm going to read to you what they're saying now, because they're going to start normalizing this stuff. Just like we see the alien propaganda, they're going to start showing you things of a mixture of a different hybrid human race. And this has to do with what we're seeing with artificial intelligence, transhumanism as well. You might remember a couple of months ago, probably not because it's been long removed. I don't even know what the name of the channel was, but he sounded a lot like I did. I covered how Mountain Dew specifically put out a commercial that showed human beings as reptilians, where they were seeing their reflection in the mirror as a reptilian. And the whole theme was your soul needs dew. Here's the actual commercial with a different backdrop behind it for copyright purposes. So that was them putting that out in the open, starting to normalize these types of things. Now, we all know how they use corporations and brands to normalize this stuff, right? We all know how they use things like Mountain Dew, or corporations and brands like Mountain Dew, right, to do things like Maui Blast and things like that. All this stuff is right in front of our faces for us to see. It's kind of how they try to walk a fine line with universal law, where this stuff has to be revealed to us, but they do it in a very deceitful way. So listen to this article, which is featured on Yahoo News, and other publications have picked up on it as well, in regards to what they're calling reptilian people, or a technologically advanced civilization that is hiding among us on Earth. What if, stick with us here, an unknown technological civilization is hiding right here on Earth, sheltering in bases deep underground and possibly even emerging with UFOs or disguised as everyday humans. In a new paper that's bound to raise eyebrows in the scientific community, a team of researchers from Harvard and Montana Technological University speculates that sightings of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, may reflect activities of intelligent beings concealed in stealth here on Earth, underground, and or its near environs, the moon, and or even walking among us, passing as humans. Yes, that's a direct quote from the paper. Needless to say, the researchers admit this idea of hidden crypto-terrestrials is a highly exotic hypothesis that's likely to be regarded skeptically by most scientists. Nonetheless, they argue the theory deserves genuine consideration in a spirit of humility and openness. Now, we'll talk about these things. You've heard all sorts of theories. I'm sure you've all listened to some people online talking about the Nephilim, talking about the reptilians, the fallen ones technology, right? And everybody out there who hears that stuff looks at us like we're crazy. But at the same time, those same people believe all the propaganda about aliens and alien technology, which is why Aleister Crowley talked about demons having a new name in the future, which of course is aliens. Because if people knew that these were really demonic entities, if they knew that the Nephilim existed or were still here, perhaps, or real, then all of a sudden the Bible becomes real to them. And they cannot have the Bible become real to the sheeple out there, because then they will convert to find God and they will find out the real truth. And then thus they'll be out of the world of lies that the devil has created, the prison that they all live in. Okay? So what we're going to see, because this is going to be revealed to people, is it's going to be revealed through aliens and science. It's a deception to cover up the fallen ones, to cover up the Nephilim, to cover up a hybrid human race. So in the future, you're going to see articles like this. Just like with the magic potion, right? We all talked about it ahead of time. We warned people about it. We were all right about it. But all they need to do is take a little bit of a spin and go in a different direction. And these people out there just believe whatever they're told, and they still dismiss all of us who told them exactly even what the media in some ways is admitting, right? We talked about how there would be a potion, people would need it numerous times, how they'd never be immune from it, and everyone said we were crazy. Then when it came out, they're like, look, see, it's a one-shot deal. Okay. Then they told you needed to go back, and instead of looking to us for what we said, they went with the narrative of, oh, well, the only reason they're telling us to get it again is because it mutates now. Instead of going, oh, wow, those people had said it ahead of time. The same will be with stories like this. They won't believe the thing that we're saying because scientists from Harvard, the mainstream media, they'll all come out and they'll label this stuff scientific or academic, and they'll believe the narrative that they're given, that no, it's not Nephilim, or no, it's not anything biblical, because that's not real, but this stuff with aliens and UFOs is real. And these people will go in on that route and believe what they're told, and they'll completely still dismiss everything we've all been saying. And this is the type of article that you read and you say, that's exactly where they're going with it, right? That's exactly where they're going. Because you can see how all of a sudden this theory that we've all had, and it's not a theory that we've all talked about, with the Nephilim and the fallen angels, which everybody out there has just termed lizard people because they could automatically dismiss it. That's why that's out there, that term lizard people. Everybody who hears that rolls their eyes and laughs, right? But now when a story like this comes out, they go, oh, okay, there could be crypto-terrestrials. No, it's not the same thing as what those people are saying. It's not lizard people. You know, it could be some alien race from outer space that I believe in, even though there's no evidence of that other than the government telling me and then baiting me into believing it. And the only real evidence I have is I've seen alien movies 100 times over, and I'm not suspicious at all as to why the government Hollywood keeps releasing all these movies about aliens every single month. So crypto-terrestrials. The interest is unexplained sightings of UFOs by military personnel has grown considerably over the last decade or so. That's done by design. That is not organic. That is them baiting you and baiting conspiracy theorists into believing that aliens exist, but not realizing that this is biblical. Okay? So it says this attention grew to a peak last summer when former Air Force intelligence officer and whistleblower David Grush testified in front of Congress claiming that the U.S. had already recovered alien spacecraft as part of decades-long UFO retrieval program. Even NASA has opened its doors for researchers to explore mysterious high-speed objects that have been spotted by military pilots over the years. But several Pentagon reports later, we have yet to find any evidence of extraterrestrial life. Yet. The buildup will continue, but it will be revealed. Don't forget, in October, they have this big UFO thing. Of course, in October, right? It's the month of demons, so why not just do it October 13th to the 31st as part of the ritual when they explain to people that the government's been hiding aliens from everybody. And everybody will believe the narrative that's given. They'll be like, see, the government is crap. I knew that this stuff was real, but they don't realize that this is all spiritual. Okay, so it says this hasn't dissuaded these Harvard researchers. In the paper, they suggest a range of possibilities, each more outlandish than the next. First is that a remnant form of an ancient, highly advanced human civilization is still hanging around, observing us. Second is that an intelligent species evolved independently of humans in the distant past, possibly from intelligent dinosaurs, and is now hiding their presence from us. Third is that these occupants of Earth traveled here from another planet or time period. And fourth, please keep a straight face, everybody, is that these unknown inhabitants of Earth are, quote, less technological than magical, which the researchers liken to earthbound angels. UFO sightings of craft and other phenomenon appearing to enter, exit, potential underground access points like volcanoes, they write, could be evidence that these crypto-terrestrials may not be drawn to these spots, but actually reside in underground or underwater bases. The paper quotes former House Representative Mike Gallagher, who suggested last year that one explanation for the UFO sightings might be an ancient civilization that's just been hiding here for all this time and is suddenly showing itself right now. And that's another term they use. Ancient aliens, ancient civilization. This is all biblical. This is referencing the fallen ones, the Nephilim, okay? This breed, right? Fallen angels mating with humans, Nephilim, okay? This is biblical. And even for people out there, because I know there's many Christians that they don't want to read the book of Enoch, or they refuse to believe it. They only want to, read certain books. This is a debate that Christians have with each other all the time. We can't dispute the existence of Nephilim. It's in the book of Genesis, okay? Nobody out there can say, well, it's in there. Okay, you want to dispute if the Nephilim still are here, if they've still, if they survived after the flood, fine. You could debate that all you want. But I think we're starting to see more and more what they're trying to do, right? You look at and watch how the government's acting in regards to this thing they made up called aliens. You know that they're not referencing actual aliens from planets because that's not real. What you know of is that they're referencing things that they're bringing over. Okay, what we know of is that they're referencing a non-human entity, and they're trying to normalize it and get people to accept it, because if people realize what it is, then the civilians as human beings would rise up against it. And don't think for 1 second, as crazy as the notion sounds, that all this stuff that we're seeing with this love, and tolerance isn't moving towards artificial intelligence, aliens, which is really demons, and of course Nephilim. That's what it is leaning towards. Acceptance, the acceptance of it. Oh, it's a different species. Oh, now we have a different species of human. Well, we technically already are living amongst a different species of human. They're called Democrats. I mean, let's be real. Most of these people out there, the things that they're allowing and they're accepting and they're telling you should do with your kids, it's unhuman. It's not human-like. So to think that we already are living amongst a different breed of humans, not talking about the Nephilim, talking about, people who call themselves liberals, is not far-fetched, is it? I mean, they literally, you could tell what they like to do in the bedroom by how they talk, the sound of their voice. So, you know what I mean? We're getting to that point. So the article finishes up. It says, of course, these are all far-fetched hypotheses, as the scientists admit, and deserve to be regarded with plenty of skepticism. We entertain them here because some aspects of UAP are strange enough that they seem to call for unconventional explanations. It may be exceedingly improbable, but hopefully this paper has shown it should nevertheless be kept on the table as we seek to understand the ongoing empirical mystery of UAP, the researchers conclude. So in the future, right, if they're going to normalize this on Earth, if they're going to normalize what they're bringing over on Earth, it's going to take deception. Because if everybody out there realizes that this is biblical, what's going on, people will turn to God. People will band together, right? So they need to deceive people into thinking it's something that it's not. Oh, it's these people from another planet. They come in peace. All the stereotypes we've heard from all these alien movies, right? We come in peace. All that type of nonsense. And of course, they'll never point a finger back to God or this being biblical and factual, because they don't want people to realize that God is real. And they've done a good job of convincing many people out there who are atheists and believing in absolute bullcrap, because the stuff that they believe in is utter insanity. I mean, it's laughable. At least we could look, you can look at the Satanists and you can look at the Christians and you can say, well, at least they know the Bible's real. These other people believe there's a big bang and we came out of monkeys' rear ends and birds took dumps in the sky and there came humans. The stuff they believe is unbelievable, but all they have to do is attach science to it. All they have to do is attach doctors to it, right? Academics and science. That's it. Attach those things to it, and then these people automatically believe it. And that's how they've been trained to think, which is not thinking at all. It's really just to be conditioned. So they will do this in the future, and they will lead people astray into accepting this type of stuff. But it's obviously a deception. And things like this, where you hear them talking about lizard people pretty much out in the open, it's going to be a little by little thing where it used to be laughable. These people would laugh at everybody out there that talked about lizard people, which is really, a hybrid race, what they're now calling crypto-terrestrials. You'll hear that terminology more often. But what you won't hear is ever the church talking about these things. In fact, most of the 501c3 churches will tell you that aliens and Mars and all these planets are real, even though they're not necessarily biblical. So keep an eye on stories like this. And again, like I mentioned, October, they're doing this big thing in Congress, conveniently during that time period of October, where the most rituals occur. Right? The veil is its thinnest, which is what Halloween really is, Samhain, where they perform these satanic rituals to summon these spirits that they're eventually going to call aliens here on Earth. And of course, nobody's going to look at this as biblical at all. They're going to look at this as scientific because that's part of the deception, right? I think more and more people are starting to see that with what we just saw occur around the world with science over the last couple of years. In the name of science, don't question the science. People started to become a little bit suspicious, which was a good thing. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you as always and your families.